Hello, and welcome back to episode 4 of the WorkerBoi Building in Public series, where we learn takeaways that can apply to your channel and track the progress of the channel that I'm building. Okay, so we have some really good progress, which I'd like to update you on, and also takeaways. So, first point is relating to the value proposition. So, the value proposition, we changed it from workers' rights kind of interacting with companies as the original value proposition. We changed it to then relationships between brands, which was the second value proposition, which we kind of only have for a week. So we only got one video which kind of nails that, which is this one, McDonald's and Walmart. And then we thought, actually, let's go further. Let's focus on history. So we're now the value proposition now is the unique moments in history of companies. So it is mixing history, which is already the content we know the viewers like from Mr. Spherical, with the companies, which is the new angle, which makes the purpose of the channel exist, right? So that's the new angle. We're really pleased with it. We think that by focusing on some unique moments of history, we can really add something new that most content doesn't do. So it's unique. Also, the animation style is unique in that education about companies is usually in video essay format. So that's, again, we're doing something unique. And overall, this is a really key point, but I've realized if I really reflect deeply, like, would I personally watch videos about worker rights? Would I personally watch videos about brand relationships like McDonald's versus Burger King? No, probably not. So, but would I watch videos that are history focused about companies, interesting moments in a company's history? Well, yes, I would. So one takeaway which I suggest, which sounds very simple, but I've noticed I've done it on a few channels, is I'm making content that is targeting my age demographic, so I'm 23. It's targeting my age demographic, but personally I wouldn't watch it. Now sometimes it's easy to dismiss that as like, well, I'm not really the target audience, so, whatever. But actually, in most cases, if you don't feel that you'd watch it yourself, then there's maybe something in the content that you need to change. And that is definitely the case with WorkerBoi, because now I think it's a lot better of a concept than the channel, and the performance has shown that. So let's get into the performance then. So we have this one video which we just launched yesterday, in fact, and within 24 hours it got 110k views. Now that, as you can see here, is double the amount that we would usually get for this kind of video in this period, even more than double in some cases, in many cases. That's crazy. That's really, really crazy. And if we look at the reasons why, I'm going to show you the CTR and kind of explain a bit more about that. So, okay, so here we have it. Let's have a look. So we have this video called The Dark Birth of Fanta. And in terms of the watch time, like per percentage viewed, average percentage viewed, I'd say it's pretty similar. It's not too much of a difference compared to the usual videos. Here's the big difference, the CTR. So we noticed that when the video launched, we got a 16% CTR, which is really high for most channels and particularly for ours. Usually on Mr. Spherical, we maybe get like 13% in like a high situation. So 16%, that's really fantastic. So we've essentially got, we got 16%, and then within 24 hours, because the video got promoted more and more to a larger audience, the CTR did decline, but that's fine, because as long as the video is getting more views, that's what matters, right? But the CTR is a kind of good metric to test how much interest there is if you compare within the same time frame. So for example, if you compare within the first 24 hours for each of the channel videos, then we see you can quite easily compare 13% versus 10%. Now, it's important to factor the views as well, because for example, if this CTR was the same, but this video had double the views, then it's still doing much better, because the same CTR with a wider audience is still a good thing. But in this case, it's not only that we got double the views, we've also got a higher CTR continuously. Now that's really big. That's really, really big. So why did we get that? Well, I think the first thing, which is quite obvious, everyone can see it, is we are using a pretty, not polarizing, well, I guess we could say polarizing, thumbnail. It's quite click attracting because most people don't use Nazi swastikas, because in the past on YouTube, obviously those get demonetized. But we thought, well, if the video gets demonetized, if the video's reach gets slightly suppressed, that's kind of worth it probably relative to the goal of just growing right now. Like, goal of growing is the key. Now, funnily enough, the video hasn't got demonetized. It hasn't got limited ads. So we're just literally earning the same we would usually, but we get lots of comments saying the thumbnail is different. It's shocking. I mean, it's totally relevant. Like, the thumbnail is about Nazi Germany, so it's not like we're doing anything clickbaity and inappropriate, but just the fact that we were willing to take that risk has really paid off in terms of the clicks and therefore the views. So that's really fantastic news. And yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing about the thumbnail is we were thinking, what is it about the ball animated format that might be an issue here? And we realized that abstractness, so for example, you're representing a ball, you're representing a company as a ball instead of a logo, or you're representing a company as a ball instead of a drink, like a bottle. We thought, well, that's kind of an issue because most people, this is a general principle that's like a good takeaway for everyone here, is most people like to have concrete items in that they're learning about. So for example, people don't really think of Fanta as a brand, as a company, as an organization. When they think of Fanta, they think of a drink. So on the thumbnail, if you have a ball, it's like, well, you're kind of just you're just representing the brand. If you put the drink on the thumbnail, then you're representing what people see day to day when they go into a shop. And that is much more relatable. It is much more familiar. It is much more interesting because it just feels more connected to reality. And we're in animation, and that's naturally disconnected from reality. So we need to kind of like compensate for that in some ways by being more concrete where we can. And that's a really interesting principle. Generally, there's a fantastic book called Made to Stick. If I remember, I'll link it in the description, but I really recommend this book. It's fantastic for learning how to script write in a way that is connecting to an audience in a concrete way, using the right words, etc. So Made to Stick is a fantastic book on this topic. And yeah, it's a principle we applied here. I'm not sure that it would have done badly if we had just done a sphere, but I'll show you here. This is an example of the sphere version, and this is an example with which we actually use, which is the bottle version. So you see there's a difference, and yeah, I think the bottle version is better. So that is that. The lesson there is learn how to be concrete where possible. Concreteness is something more people can understand, more kids can understand. More older people can understand who don't really want to spend much effort trying to conceptualize and think in the abstract. So generally it works both for younger people and it also works for people who aren't that interested, which is the kind of people we want, because we want people who are new viewers and they're probably not that interested yet. So we want to attract those people, make it easy for them to consume, etc. Okay, that's the second point, second takeaway. Third thing, I want to share the finances. So let's jump into the finances. So we firstly see that we've set up some kind of criteria to know whether we proceed with the channel or not. And the reason for this is, well, as I've already said, we need to make sure that we don't spend too much money indefinitely. I lost $35,000 on 2 channels because I kind of let it go for too long. I don't want to make the same mistake. So $20,000 is the kind of budget. Now, the key here is, as we've kind of established here, this spreadsheet was actually made by my finance manager. She's an accountant and she works at the company. She's fantastic. And she helps me out with thinking through incentives to pay, salaries, budgeting, and also the timelines for the channel. She has more of an impartial perspective, so she's willing to tell me, no, you need to cut this channel, which she did for one of the last channels, which was useful. So, so anyway, we've set up this criteria, which I think is quite interesting to be aware of, which is the following. So firstly, we've already got the 2 long videos sponsored. Our agency has managed to get those, which is fantastic. So $3,500 per video, 2 long videos. Now that's going to just about profit. So we're going to be able to make our money back plus profit, which is great. Profit maybe $500 per video. It's not a lot, but it's good. That means that we kind of have those videos, what I would call like for free, which is quite useful because we can make them and we know we're not going to be draining the budget anymore. The budget is currently, I think, at like $16,000 we spent, and maybe we've only made like $400 in AdSense. So the long videos, if we do two long videos, it's going to still stay at around $16,000 or maybe even go down because we actually make a profit, right? So like $15,000. In the meantime, the short videos, well, these don't make money, but they can be good for growth. So that's why we're going to keep doing them. But the plan is the following. We're going to do another 3 videos with this new value proposition format, which is the history, the unique moments and history of companies. And we're going to do 3 more videos. After that video, we're going to do the long video, the first long video. And then after that period, we're going to decide, okay, so we spent maybe, let's say, $3,000 more on 3 short videos. The long video is basically free. And if the long video doesn't do well, then what we're going to do is we're going to only do 1 short video. So we're going to do 1 long video, one short video 2 weeks after instead of 1 week after. Our usual posting schedule is 1 week after. And then we're going to do one more long video at the month mark, so a month between each long video. If the channel does keep succeeding, then we're going to keep our production capacity going, which will be long video, short next week, short next week, short next week, long video. So it depends on the performance, but the reason for this is we don't want to burn money that we shouldn't be. In some ways, a good channel can get views even if you haven't posted recently. So that means that it doesn't really make sense to burn money that isn't working if we're doing short videos. It's better to just wait, see how the long videos do, and maybe the formatting of the long videos being long, YouTube likes it more, YouTube promotes the channel, and therefore we actually get some growth. And we might just need to wait until we have the second long video for that to actually happen, instead of trying to post more videos and make more short videos. So that is the plan. I want to keep under $20,000 net burn, which will require this 3 videos, as I said. We'll see how that goes. So that is point 3. The takeaway here is, first of all, remember that if your videos aren't succeeding, it's likely because they're not interesting enough in some form in terms of clicking and watching. But it is possible, and this is an important point, it is possible that YouTube thinks the video is too short, or maybe it's even too long, but probably too short, and therefore you're not getting YouTube enough watch time, which means they don't place enough ads, which means that the video is less likely to be promoted. So for example, in animation content, something that I haven't really acted on, but I should, is compilation content is really good. Like, compilation content makes a lot of money, and it's also, it literally gets like 2-3 times the views in many cases. That's pretty crazy. 2-3 times the views. And that is, in my opinion, because YouTube loves to serve ads. It wants to serve ads. And if it has a continuous stream of content, like 30 minutes of animation, then it's easier to have a viewer watch all of that than have them watch 10 or even 12 1.5 2-minute videos, right? So that's worth considering. Is your formatting the issue? It could be. It's possible. Now, the last thing to say there is formatting. It does depend on the niche. In some niches, it's hard to take a viewership which is interested in short videos to long videos. Animation, we have a pretty good situation where most niches you can convert viewers, but that's also important to factor as well. Okay, so that is it for the WorkerBoi update episode 4. I hope that was useful, and that was fun to make. I hope that those takeaways were good. And otherwise, we will see what episode 5 leads us to. We will hopefully have 2 more videos, short videos done by then, and also maybe the long video. So we'll see where the performance of this new value proposition goes. And that's it. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and we will chat soon.